If you've been using HelloFresh meal kits or thinking about trying them, there's something you need to know, urgently. According to the CDC, ground beef in some HelloFresh boxes has been linked to an E. coli outbreak across 6 states. That's already alarming, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the colorful ads and easy dinner promises, there are some serious issues that most customers don't find out about until they're deep in the subscription. Let's start with the price. HelloFresh loves promoting meals that start at $7 to $9 per serving, which sounds reasonable at first. But when real users check their actual bills, the average per meal cost lands closer to $10 to $13. Why? Because there's a delivery fee slapped onto every box, $9.99 per week. Multiply that by 52 weeks, and you're paying over $500 a year just to get groceries delivered. Then there's the optional tip at checkout. It's not required, but most people feel pressured to leave one, and that adds up too. And don't forget those premium upgrades, restaurant-style steak, gourmet salmon, and similar temptations. They sneak into your cart easily and add $3 to $5 per serving. Suddenly, your weekly $60 meal budget becomes $100 without you realizing it. Now, here's something that catches a lot of people off guard. HelloFresh doesn't include basic pantry items. You're expected to supply your own oil, butter, salt, pepper, and sometimes even vinegar or sugar. Buying decent quality olive oil and butter regularly adds to your expenses fast. Not to mention, building a proper spice cabinet to follow their recipes the right way could cost more than a mid-range smartphone. What feels like an affordable meal service quickly becomes a steady drain on your wallet. And it's not just your money being drained. Packaging waste is a major hidden cost, and yes, you're paying for it too. Each box is filled with ice packs, thick insulation, cardboard dividers, and individually wrapped ingredients, all necessary to keep food fresh during transit, but all that material has a cost, and that cost? Passed directly to you. HelloFresh meals aren't just priced for the ingredients, they're priced to support an entire logistics and packaging system. But let's talk about what you're actually eating. The quality of the food is hit or miss. Many customers report vegetables arriving wilted or bruised, especially during hotter months or when there are shipping delays. Lettuce shows up already limp. Carrots bend like rubber. Fresh herbs often look more like compost than garnish. And shelf life? Most of the produce only lasts a day or two after delivery, creating pressure to cook meals immediately before they go bad. That flexibility you thought you were buying? Gone. Even the proteins come with compromises. Vacuum-sealed meats may look clean and fresh, but they're often treated with sodium solutions and preservatives. Chicken breasts might sit in your fridge for a week, but they've been chemically processed to get there, changing the flavor and texture. The ingredients may be convenient, but they don't always taste like real, fresh food. Worse still, ingredients sometimes go missing. You could be halfway through a recipe before you realize a lime, a spice packet, or a key sauce is absent. That means scrambling to the store mid-meal or skipping parts of the recipe altogether. It's frustrating, and it happens more often than you'd expect. And while pre-prepped items like shredded cheese or peeled garlic save time, they also lose a lot of flavor. These shortcuts turn home-cooked meals into something that tastes like airline food, bland and overly processed. Now, on a personal note, I want to share something that did make a positive impact, unlike meal kits. A few months ago, my fiancé got me a health ring. It tracks things like stress, sleep, and even how your body responds to medication. I started noticing that every time I took a certain medication, my stress levels spiked 2 to 3 times. I stopped taking it, and honestly, I felt 10 years younger almost instantly. My wife uses it to track her cycle and sleep, and she's become obsessed with it. They're currently running a limited-time 69% discount, so the ring only costs around $60. Compared to the hundreds we were spending on HelloFresh every month, this actually felt like money well spent. So here's the bottom line. HelloFresh might sound convenient and cost-effective, but Once you dig into the real costs, quality issues, and packaging waste, it starts to feel like a very expensive illusion. If you're trying to save time, money, or eat healthier, this may not be the solution you thought it was. If this helped you see things a little differently, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Stay informed, stay sharp, and most importantly, stay in control of your own kitchen. If you're considering HelloFresh or currently using it, there's a lot more you need to know beyond the flashy recipes and convenient delivery. While the company promises affordable, fresh meals at your doorstep, the reality for many customers is far less appetizing. Let's start with the cost. HelloFresh advertises meals at $7 to $9 per serving, but most customers end up paying $10 to $13 once all the hidden fees stack up. There's a $9.99 delivery fee on every box, optional tips that most people feel pressured into adding, and premium meal upgrades that sneak into your cart with tempting labels like restaurant-style steak or gourmet salmon, adding $3 to $5 per serving. What was supposed to be a $60 weekly plan can easily balloon to over $100, quietly draining your budget. That's not all. Pantry staples like oil, butter, salt, and pepper? Not included. You're expected to provide those yourself, and if you're buying quality versions, olive oil for instance, it adds up quickly. A basic spice collection alone can cost more than a smartwatch. And all the fancy packaging used to keep ingredients fresh? That cost gets passed on to you too. Ice packs, cardboard dividers, plastic wrap for every single ingredient. You're paying for packaging as much as for food, but what about the food itself? Many customers have opened boxes only to find wilted produce, bendy carrots, and herbs that belong in the compost bin. Especially during the summer or in rural areas, produce often arrives days after it's packed. While urban customers might get food packed the day before, rural users often receive ingredients that have traveled for 3 to 4 days. Your lettuce has seen more states than a political campaign bus before it hits your cutting board. The quality of your box also depends heavily on the regional facility it's packed in. Some centers maintain better refrigeration and rotate inventory more frequently, while others may let ingredients sit longer before they're shipped. Even if you order the same meals every week, the freshness and flavor can vary wildly depending on where you live and which packing facility handles your box. And even if everything arrives in decent condition, you're not off the hook. Most HelloFresh meals require 30 to 45 minutes of active cooking, plus another 10 to 15 minutes just to unpack, read instructions, and organize ingredients. Their easy meals often demand more multitasking than you'd expect. Boiling pasta while sautéing vegetables, seasoning meat, and mixing sauces all at once. Recipe cards assume you have professional-level kitchen coordination, and the instructions often lack clarity. Phrases like cook until golden brown or season to taste are vague, especially for beginners. What does season properly even mean if you've never really cooked before? Then there's the equipment. Recipes frequently call for zesters, meat thermometers, fine mesh strainers, or specific types of pans. And these aren't mentioned until you're already mid-recipe. You end up shopping for kitchen tools more often than for food. And those little difficulty ratings? They're based on the number of steps, not the actual skill needed. So, a meal marked easy might require you to juggle for simultaneous cooking tasks, while a hard one might just involve more chopping. Speaking of chopping, prep takes longer than they claim. Dicing onions evenly, slicing vegetables uniformly, and measuring spices precisely takes time, especially if you're not experienced. The pictures on the recipe cards show perfectly prepped ingredients, but achieving that takes more practice than they let on. And after all that, cleanup is no joke. Recipes often require multiple pans, mixing bowls, baking trays, cutting boards, and utensils. You might need a pan for meat, another for vegetables, a pot for grains, and bowls for mixing sauces. Your kitchen ends up looking like a restaurant during rush hour. Some recipes even seem designed to dirty every item in your kitchen, brown meat in one pan, transfer it to another, finish vegetables in the oven. It's as if HelloFresh gets commissioned based on how many dishes you have to wash. The recipe cards also assume a lot of culinary knowledge. Terms like sauté until translucent or simmer until reduced don't mean much to someone who mostly cooks with a microwave. Basic cooking techniques are referenced but not explained, leaving new cooks confused and overwhelmed. And here's the part that really stings. HelloFresh promotes zero-waste meals, but the truth looks a lot different. Sure, portions are measured to prevent food waste, but the packaging waste is enormous. Each tiny ingredient comes in its own plastic bag or container. 2 carrots? Bagged. 3 garlic cloves? Individually wrapped. Tiny packets of sauces and herbs? You get more plastic than flavor. And these small portions often leave you with just enough leftover to throw away, but not enough to reuse. It's like collecting condiment packets that expire before you figure out what to do with them. Oh, and if something goes wrong, like a missing ingredient or spoiled produce, customer service will usually offer you credits for a future box. But that's not much help when you're standing in the kitchen with a half-prepped meal and no way to finish it. Now, here's something worth knowing, especially if you care about health and wellness. While some health rings on the market are priced around $350 and offer fewer features, one company recently released a smart health ring for only $60. How? They cut out the middlemen like Amazon and Walmart, who usually hike up prices. Without the markup, you're not paying 3 to 5 times more than the product's real value. This ring tracks stress, sleep, heart rate, and more. I found out that certain medications were spiking my stress levels, and when I stopped taking them, I genuinely felt 10 years younger. My wife uses hers to track sleeping cycles, and she's totally hooked. HelloFresh may sound convenient, but the hidden costs, inconsistent quality, vague instructions, and overwhelming cleanup make it far less fresh than it claims. If you're considering it, take a closer look, because what you think you're saving in time or money may actually be costing you more than you realize. You might expect meal kits like HelloFresh to reduce waste and make life simpler, but the reality is far more complicated and, in many cases, far more wasteful. Take the packaging, for example. Ingredients often arrive in single-use containers that feel more like disposable lab samples than groceries. You'll get a single tablespoon of tomato paste in a plastic cup with a peel-off lid. Ice packs pile up with every box, but most municipal recycling systems don't accept the gel-filled types. Some can be drained. Others contain chemicals you definitely shouldn't wash down the sink. Eventually, your freezer starts looking more like a physical therapy clinic than a kitchen. Portion sizes are wildly inconsistent too. One recipe might give you enough rice for lunch the next day, while another barely offers enough protein for a single meal. Planning for leftovers becomes impossible, and you often end up supplementing meals with additional grocery trips, defeating the entire purpose of convenience. Fresh herbs are among the worst offenders. A recipe might call for 2 tablespoons of basil, but you'll receive a bulky package that contains enough for 6 meals. Unless you cook with basil again right away, those fragrant leaves become a soggy green mess at the bottom of your fridge. The same thing happens with onions, potatoes, and other staples. You might get 3 onions when you need 1, or 2 pounds of potatoes when the recipe calls for half a pound. The extras often go to waste or require you to improvise entirely new meals just to avoid throwing food away. And if you care about recycling, prepare to be frustrated. Disposing of HelloFresh packaging can feel like solving a complex riddle. Cardboard, plastic films, ice packs, insulation materials all need to be handled differently, and most local recycling programs aren't equipped for the variety of materials used. The How to Recycle guide that comes with the box reads more like an IKEA manual than something intuitive. Even when you want to recycle, you often can't. Storage space becomes another issue. If you live in a small apartment or have limited fridge space, HelloFresh boxes can overwhelm your kitchen. Individually wrapped ingredients and bulky cooling materials take up more room than they should, and when everything arrives at once, it's easy for ingredients to get lost or spoil in the back of the fridge. Then there's a subtle psychological effect. Because HelloFresh ingredients are pre-portioned, customers often feel less responsible for wasting them. Tossing half a pre-chopped onion into the trash doesn't feel the same as throwing out one you bought and prepared yourself. That disconnection encourages carelessness. Expiration dates don't help either. Many dairy items spoil before you get around to the second recipe that needs them. Produce deteriorates faster than expected, especially if you don't cook every meal within a couple of days. HelloFresh assumes you'll follow a rigid cooking schedule, but real life doesn't always allow for that. And all of this points to a much larger issue: the environmental cost of meal kit logistics. Each HelloFresh ingredient takes a long, winding journey before reaching your plate. Tomatoes from California, cheese from Wisconsin, herbs from Mexico, they all get shipped to centralized packing facilities before being sorted, repackaged, and shipped again to your home. Your dinner ingredients may travel more miles than a long-haul trucker every week. What makes this even less efficient is the delivery model. Instead of one trip to a local grocery store serving an entire neighborhood, HelloFresh sends out thousands of individual boxes to thousands of separate homes every week. Each delivery requires packaging, transportation fuel, and temperature-controlled shipping, doubling or even tripling the energy used compared to traditional grocery supply chains. Packaging alone consumes massive resources. Those plastic containers are made from petroleum-based materials. The boxes require harvested trees, chemical treatments, and industrial processing. The gel inside ice packs is produced at specialized facilities that burn through electricity, water, and chemicals to keep those packs cold for a few days. And don't forget the energy needed to maintain the cold chain: refrigerated warehouses, climate-controlled trucks, and insulated containers. All of this consumes far more energy than buying from a regional grocery store, where many items are locally sourced and distributed more efficiently. To top it all off, the recycling system simply isn't built to handle this volume or complexity. Laminated cardboard, multi-layer plastics, metallic coatings, and gel packs often go straight into landfills. Most communities don't have the facilities or infrastructure to process specialized packaging materials, meaning all those recyclable items don't actually get recycled. Even sourcing decisions favor price over sustainability. Ingredients are flown or trucked in from far-off suppliers to keep menu options consistent, even when local or seasonal alternatives are available. It's a system built for convenience and appearance, not environmental responsibility. So while HelloFresh might simplify dinner prep for some, it comes at a significant cost to your wallet, your time, and the planet. When you dig deeper into HelloFresh and services like it, the real cost goes far beyond the price per meal. From environmental impact to time management, budget strain, and practicality, the full picture is far more complex than the cheerful ads suggest. Let's start with the food itself. HelloFresh sources ingredients globally, often shipping produce from the opposite hemisphere, even during local growing seasons. That adds unnecessary miles and emissions to your dinner. And the supply chain isn't just energy intensive, it's water hungry too. Washing and processing ingredients at centralized facilities consumes massive amounts of water, far more than traditional grocery store systems. Add in the water used in the manufacturing and sanitizing of all that single-use packaging, and the eco-footprint of a HelloFresh box quickly balloons. Then there's fuel. Multiply weekly deliveries across millions of customers, and you're looking at an enormous fuel footprint. Trucks burn diesel, local couriers use gasoline, and some ingredients are even shipped by air. The total fuel consumption, just to keep the HelloFresh model running, rivals that of a small city's transportation system. Packaging production also contributes to pollution. Plastic creation doesn't just emit carbon, it produces toxic byproducts that harm both air and water quality. Paper and cardboard processing involves chemical treatments that can contaminate local water systems if not carefully managed. When you look at the environmental cost holistically, it's hard to justify calling HelloFresh sustainable in any meaningful way. Yes, convenience is the company's primary selling point, and for some, it does solve real problems. Busy professionals who work long hours appreciate skipping grocery lines. Parents juggling dinner, school, and chaos find relief in not having to plan meals from scratch. But that convenience often comes with a hidden time cost. You might save time grocery shopping, but you'll likely spend it unpacking multiple ingredients, organizing excess packaging, and deciphering recipes that assume you cook like a Food Network contestant. What's saved in planning often gets spent on prep, cleanup, and kitchen logistics. That time saved ends up disappearing faster than leftovers in a college dorm fridge. Cost savings are another illusion, highly dependent on your existing habits. If your family frequently dines out, HelloFresh might seem economical, but if you typically cook at home, the difference is stark. Grocery store ingredients usually cost less per meal, especially when you control portions and reduce waste. Then there are dietary restrictions. HelloFresh does offer vegetarian, low-calorie, and low-carb meals, but options for people with allergies, religious restrictions, or highly specific tastes are limited. Families with picky eaters might find themselves stuck ordering basic, plain meals just to keep everyone fed. That removes much of the creativity the service advertises. Kitchen space and equipment also matter more than you'd expect. Small apartments, limited refrigeration, or basic cookware can make HelloFresh impractical. Each box assumes you have storage space, counter space, and an arsenal of kitchen tools ready to go. And if your schedule isn't predictable, good luck. You'll need to manually skip weeks, adjust deliveries around vacations, holidays, and visitors. The subscription runs like clockwork. Unfortunately, real life doesn't. Psychologically, automatic deliveries lead many people to overspend without realizing it. You start getting boxes weekly, even when you don't need them. Meanwhile, you're still buying groceries for breakfast, lunch, and snacks, effectively doubling your food costs. It's easy to lose track of how much you're really spending until you check your credit card and realize your food budget is bloated beyond belief. Long-term satisfaction varies. Some people genuinely enjoy trying new recipes and learning new techniques. Others find the novelty wears off quickly, especially when recipes repeat or become too complex. Whether or not HelloFresh keeps delivering value depends largely on how well it fits your lifestyle. In the end, HelloFresh isn't inherently good or bad. It's simply about fit. If you value convenience over cost, don't mind limited options, and have the space and time to cook, it might work great for you. But if you're budget conscious, have dietary limitations, or already enjoy grocery shopping and meal prep, traditional methods offer better value, flexibility, and sustainability. Ultimately, you have to decide what matters most in your household. For some, the convenience is worth the trade-offs. For others, it's just another subscription draining your wallet faster than a Black Friday sale. When you understand the true costs, financial, environmental, and practical, you'll be much better equipped to decide if HelloFresh is really the right choice for you.